Okay, so it seems like recently there's been another situation going on with Mori Calliope, and essentially a lot of people over on Twitter not being so happy about her music. Now, if you guys don't know, obviously recently she announced that she'll be working on another anime, being a pretty big one, Made in Abyss, right? The Made in Abyss movie that is coming out on October 23rd. She will be the kind of singer behind what do you call it? The theme, or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, here is the announcement saying, huge announcement. Beyond elated to announce I was in charge of vocals and some of the lyrics for the theme of the new Made in Abyss movie coming out in October. As stated in my debut stream, this series is very dear to me. I'm so grateful for Kevin Penkin for this chance. So it seems like Kevin had linked her up with this, which again is great. Obviously, if you guys don't know Kevin, he's obviously a huge anime like OST, creator, musician, whatever you want to call him, right? Obviously Australian guy, and yeah, made the previous Made in Abyss soundtrack. So again, it's great to see that obviously those two have kind of managed to find something really cool to make in Made in Abyss. But of course, with that comes a lot of the hate that she's been receiving, which is very disappointing to see, because again, we saw it with the whole Gachi Akuta thing too. If you guys remember that, obviously she did the opening for Gachi Akuta, and some people were complaining about that. But honestly, I think it's I think that she does a good job. I think that she had a good opening for Gachi Akuta, and I feel like she's going to kill it for Made in Abyss as well. And obviously, a lot of people have been reporting on this, saying fans attack hololive, saying the announcement that Mori Calliope will perform the main theme for the new Made in Abyss movie has sparked a fierce divide between the franchise purists and VTuber fans. Critics complained, saying they're fed up with seeing their favorite animes collaborating with hololive, claiming that they're tired of seeing them everywhere. However, fans are reminded them of a killer detail. The theme was composed by none other than Kevin Penkin himself, who co-wrote the lyrics with a member of hololive EN. So essentially what they're saying here is that although lots of people have been complaining about Mori Calliope and things like that being involved within Made in Abyss, actually the creator of the music is Kevin Penkin, really. He is the one that has made it, who is obviously the guy that's been making Made in Abyss forever. So you can imagine the different comments that people have been making. We'll go through them in a minute. People saying like, they're ruining my favorite anime, or they're ruining, they're going to ruin my favorite show, or something like that along those lines. When in actual fact, it's actually the same guy that's been making the music for the entirety of the past 2 seasons. It just, they just included Mori Calliope as, the actual person singing the lyrics, as well as maybe helping out a little bit with the lyrics as well, right? But Kevin has made the music. Kevin has done pretty much everything else in regards to that, and he is the one who has created the music for the previous Made in Abyss thing. So how could they be ruining it if it is the original creator of the music in the first place? It just sounds kind of stupid, right? Saying if that weren't enough, the creator of Made in Abyss publicly celebrated the collaboration as soon as it was announced. The creator calls the shots the purists cry. Which, again, I think it's ridiculous. Of course, I think that Mori Calliope will do a great job. I think that she is a great, kind of performer. And again, lots of people are just kind of getting annoyed for no reason. Now, these are some of the comments apparently saying this drama is actually so stupid. Who cares? The music is absolutely peak. The world doesn't revolve around your preferences. If you don't like it, if you don't like Mori, it's fine. But a contribution doesn't somehow ruin Made in Abyss, or even its phenomenal music. Oh my god, I can say that. I don't understand. You're deaf. So yeah, obviously here it is. You can see they say I hate it so much, which again is crazy. And as well, this one, Japanese saying, please stop for real. Don't tarnish the work I love so much. Which obviously is quite funny, because they say, don't tarnish the work I love so much, when, let's be real, the actual theme itself is still made by the same person who's made all the other themes and all the other soundtracks and things like that, right? If a voice can really ruin a work that much, I would love to see how that works, because again, obviously, as I said, it's the same guy. It's going to be the same style. It's not going to be like a completely different kind of music. Of course, Kevin Penkin knows exactly what he is doing whenever it comes to the theme of Made in Abyss and the type of music that he needs to make, and how to actually incorporate Mori Calliope properly. He's not stupid, right? He's not just going to make a random song that fits Mori perfectly and not Made in Abyss, right? He's going to try to create something that will be very good for Made in Abyss, but it also can include Mori Calliope within it and to do the vocals, right? And that's it. That is literally it. And they say, yeah, she's participating in vocals and lyrics. That's it. That's literally it, right? And if that amount of kind of interaction with it is enough for you to be like, it's tarnishing the work, I mean, I think you need to get help, honestly, right? You know, I know that people get very, very protective about their shows. I understand people not liking certain aspects of a show. Sometimes you just got to deal with it, right? Sometimes you just got to deal with the fact that, hey, maybe this opening isn't as much as, you know, this theme, whatever, isn't as good as I liked it, right? That's why people have things like best openings, right? You think about like all the openings for every other anime, especially the longer running ones like Bleach and things like that, right? People have favorite openings over the others because some of them weren't so good, but we never saw anybody freaking out over the fact that, oh, this opening wasn't so good, the last one was so much better. No, people were like, oh, well, you know, that's fine. The show's still great. I'm going to keep watching it, right? You know, it doesn't affect anything to do with the show itself either. You know, of course, maybe the music, it might kind of, you know, be included within the actual film itself, but that's about it, right? You know, the show is still the same. The story hasn't changed. You know, the animation hasn't changed. The entirety of the anime essentially has not changed one bit. And they're still going to use other music. It's not like they're going to be using this one piece of theme, a song, or whatever you want to call it. It's not like they're going to be using this for the entirety of the film, and that's the only music that they're going to provide. No, of course, Kevin's going to create other themes and things for the backgrounds, because of course that is what they do. That is what makes the anime very, very good. And yeah, I think people are overreacting completely over something that is, I think, honestly, not that big of a deal, right? It's really not, you know, a big deal at all. So my question is, why is it always Callie? It's not hate. Personally, I don't like her songs much, but it's my own thing. What I'd like to know is why it's always her when there are more VTubers. Some kind soul who answers this question, I'd appreciate it a lot. Now, yeah, they're asking, okay, I think it's a fair enough question. Like, why is it always her? Why is Mori Calliope the only one from hololive that is doing these kind of things? Well, I think it's because she's built a reputation within the space, right? She's built up a reputation for working with more anime, and I think she's started up that momentum now where she will get offered different jobs for this kind of stuff, right? And it keep on going. Because I said, you know, obviously she's worked with Getchi Akuto and things like that. Now, if you were to ask any of the other hololive members, of course, they haven't exactly got that experience with the anime space, right? They haven't exactly done any of this kind of stuff before. So, you know, it would be one of those things where, yes, you know, you would probably go with Mori Calliope, someone who has worked with anime studios, has worked with different shows before. Of course, everybody has to start somewhere. But of course, I think with the other members of hololive or anybody else even, I think that, you know, obviously they start small and get bigger, right? Which obviously Mori Calliope has done. She's worked herself up. She's made music herself. She's done all of this kind of stuff. Then she's gotten that chance to get Yakuta, which obviously is probably a bigger jump, which obviously is going to get her onto more people's radars. And that is why she's always chosen, right? Like, it's, for example, people like, you know, Lisa and some other big anime opening artists out there, right? You think about them, they get picked for like so many different openings, and like Eve as well. Those are some really big bands and singers and whatever you want to call them, right? That essentially get picked for a lot of anime openings and a lot of different themes and things like that, to the point where they constantly get picked. That's because they've built up that reputation with previous works that they have worked on, that people want to kind of hire them for their next anime, right? They're not going to want to, you know, hire random Japanese band number 15, right? Because, of course, they haven't really worked on anything before. Now, maybe if they voiced like a smaller anime, and then maybe like a slightly bigger anime wants to, you know, have a little go with them, because obviously they don't have enough money, so they try with them, and then maybe they work themselves up to an even bigger anime until they get to the point where they become one of those kind of house names, I guess, of music. You know, it's just one of those things where you have to work your way up, and I think Mori Calliope has worked her way up quite a lot over the past couple of years or so, to the point where she's at now, you know, doing stuff for Made in Abyss, whereas other hololive members haven't done that yet, right? Of course, maybe they could in the future, and maybe we will see some more hololive members voicing some bigger roles, but as I said, they need to work themselves up first to get to that point. And yeah, that is essentially why it is, you know, always Mori Calliope that is, you know, doing these, and I think it's great. You know, I think, you know, obviously she's gotten herself to that point, right? But yeah, that is essentially all there is for this situation. I just kind of wanted to cover it because I thought it was a little bit ridiculous, people just getting angry over nothing. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop to use my code Kaza, get 10% off again. They've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.